The next one that we're going to talk about is also going to have some potential controversy in passing. It's the bill that will require each school board to develop and implement a policy that requires high school pupils to consent to random drug testing as a condition of participation in extracurricular activity and as a condition of obtaining permission slips to park a vehicle on school property. When the law enforcement branch of this subcommittee, for lack of a better term, of this group met, we agreed that although this is, no pun intended, a bit of a tough pill to swallow, if we're going to attempt to actually make a difference, we need to know who those using and supplying the heroin at school or at school functions is, and this is one way to do that.
When we discover these students, then what becomes a big question. And if we test and we don't have something else that happens to support those students if they're caught, I think that's another thing that can be troubling for us. Is it's not just drug use potentially, it's also mental health. That knowing that they're in trouble is great, but then what do we do?
One, I do not like to mandate anything to our schools. I think our schools do a pretty darn good job of running themselves. They know what they need, they talk to the parents, and another mandate, and especially another unfunded mandate, I don't think they need. I don't think our kids need to be treated like criminals. I think we've got really good kids, and I think we've got some kids with problems, but to randomly be pulling kids out of class for a couple hours and then to have someone watching them pee in a cup, that's really disturbing to me.
I understand and to a large degree share your concerns. I have a 13-year-old and a 10-year-old, and I think the thought of them being pulled and watched as they give a sample is horrifying. I think that when students die of opiate overdose, that's equally, if not more, horrifying. This is not an easy or polite subject. I think that you have some extremely valid points that will be debated in committees and before both bodies of the legislature. I will yield that if the majority of this committee or the majority of this coalition does not want to see that as a drafted bill, I will not suggest its drafting.